With the Fortnitemares update, we now have diagonal movement settings, and people have been asking me what are the best settings. So we're going to talk about it in today's video and break it down so you know how to choose the best settings. So first of all, what is the diagonal movement? So if you go to your settings and you go to this page right over here, it's going to be under the keyboard movement. This is only going to affect keyboard and mouse players. So by default, this is off. And you're going to have normal movement. And when you turn it on, you're actually going to start off at 45 and 135. So if you have it set like this, you actually have the same movement as if you had it off. So this is the same exact thing. Once you start tweaking these numbers, that's when you can start getting some of that diagonal adjustments. So let's talk about what's the best setting. And right now I'm on this map right here. This is the Spooky Zero Build Mode Pit. So it's pretty much a replica of the Cypher PK Pit map from the Icon series, but we recreated it and remixed it to be spookified, and it's zero build mode, so you can actually jump in, and it's not just an open pit. There's actually a fighting area down below. So this is going to be a good way for us to test these diagonal settings. Let me tell you this, the best settings for the diagonal movement is going to come down to your personal preference, but let me show you how I personally chose the diagonal settings that work best for me. So first of all, if you were to max out your movement and you set this to 90, that means you don't have any diagonal movement. That means if you start pushing forward and then right, you start just running sideways. So you definitely don't want to max out anything. There's a sweet spot here that you're going to want to look for. Let's say you have it set to like 70, for example, and you start running. You're kind of running diagonally for the most part, but you're still able to look forward. So this is really the main benefit. And as you can see, the side-to-side turns are a lot sharper. And if you're trying to run around a corner, you can keep your crosshair up and run around corners a lot easier. There's an invisible wall there, but you might think I'm exaggerating. But let's turn this off and show you what it looks like when it's off. If you're trying to run around corners the same exact way without moving your mouse, as you can see, like I am kind of curving around the corners, but I'm not making sharp turns. Now this is really beneficial in zero build mode, but I'm also going to go into build mode and talk about why diagonal movement is going to help you in build mode as well. So first of all, let's talk about the second option. Fortnite only gave us two options: forward diagonal angle and backwards diagonal angle. I thought they were going to give us a little bit more than this, but I'm still pretty happy with this. Now, the backwards diagonal angle, you are never supposed to be walking backwards in Fortnite unless you're like retreating into a corner or you're hiding from somebody. So first of all, you don't want to put this direction. You don't want to put this here, and then for this one, you don't want to put it under. Whatever setting you choose, you can't really be wrong, but you are 100% wrong if your forward diagonal angle is less than 45. You are wrong. And if your backwards diagonal angle is more than 135, you are wrong. Because if you put it more, for example, let's put it at 160, you're actually forcing yourself to run backwards. You can't really run diagonally. You're running mainly backwards. So those are the first two things. For me, I found that most players are going to place their forward diagonal between anywhere from like 55 on the very low end to 75 on the high end. Personally, I think between 65 and like 73, or 63 and 73, that's going to be where you're going to find your sweet spot. Ninja, for example, he's using 73. He likes the more sharp turn. I'm at 70, and if anything, I might be closer to 69 or 68. And I'm not saying that as a joke, but I'm messing with 70 today, and I've been playing it for a few hours. And by the way, when you change the setting, it's going to take you a little bit of time to get used to it. It took me a few hours before it started feeling smooth. At first, I was feeling a little bit clunky, and I almost turned it off. But stick with it. 120 and 70, those are my go-to. 60 up to 75 at the most. 110 or 100 up to 135. So these are my settings. Now let me show you real quick. I'm going to drop into this zero build pit. This is a pretty sweet mode. I'm going to grab the rapid fire SMG. I'll grab the hammer, gold tack. Let's grab shotgun. So you actually drop down and you actually deploy so you can land wherever you want to. I'm just going to go in and start swinging. So this is actually really good practice to see like what you're comfortable with, because you're going to be running around a lot of corners here. So if you're a zero build player and you want to tweak your diagonal settings, this map will be perfect. It's also just a good way to warm up. This guy's chasing me. Now, here's an important thing. your close range fights are actually going to be a little bit more movement based now. Like you can actually throw people off a little bit better because like I said, if you're fighting someone in the close range, you're turning a corner, you can actually go really fast side to side. This is a lot faster than you could do it before. So work on your movement. You'll be a lot harder to hit. As you can see, we were actually very thoughtful about the map design to kind of give you the opportunity to move around. And I'm actually going to have the map team, because this map is actually made by my map team. I'm going to have them change it a little bit to where it automatically reloads after you kill somebody. So far, we've touched about how diagonal movement affects your zero build mode gameplay. But we're gonna hop into the Cypher PK Spit. This is the Cypher PK icon map. And we're gonna talk about how this diagonal movement actually affects build mode even more. So if you're a build player, stay tuned. All right, so now we are in build mode and I'm gonna show you how this diagonal movement is going to affect your build gameplay, and it's pretty dramatic of a change. So I'm actually going to go off to the corner and mess with the changes here. Okay, so first thing is, like, let's say you're trying to build a wall and you're trying to protect yourself from incoming shot. I'm going to go ahead and turn off my diagonal movement. So let's say there's someone over there and they're shooting at me and I want to build a floor and a wall. So this is how I would usually do this. As you can see, I have to look down and look back up, look down, look back up. I have to constantly do this, and there's actually an opening where you can get shot, and you sometimes might make a mistake and build a wall in front of you because you're constantly having to look down and look back up. This happens pretty frequently. Now, as soon as I turn on my diagonal movement, I have this enabled. Look how much easier it is to pull this maneuver off. So now it's going to be, hold on. Now it's going to be just like this. I don't even have to really shift my mouse much. I can look in a certain spot and make it happen. So obviously it took me a second to figure it out where I need to put my mouse, but once you figure that out, you're just running and you're smoothly just placing everything. Let's keep it going. The night and day difference. And the speed, it's not just how much easier it is, it's also faster. Because of the fact that I'm constantly running, cruising. We got that full sprint, and I don't really have to make, I only have to make minor mouse adjustments. That's pretty much it. Now, it's not going to just help you with your tarping. Like, let's say this is like a tarp where we're leaving one side open. Let's say you're doing like a ramp tarp where you're placing it like this, ramp over your head. This is so much easier to pull off now. Couple shots. We're gonna run around them. Right now, my goal is just to run around them. The fact that I'm running and making these sharp turns around this guy, I would be moving a lot slower, by the way, if I didn't have diagonal movement on. I'm able to run around the target way more efficiently with diagonal movement on than if it was off. So ladies and gentlemen, the diagonal movement is here. I hope this helped you guys pick your best settings. Go check out the Cypher PK Zero Build Mode Spooky Pit Map, which just went live today. Go check it out and use code CypherPK.